Whoa, it's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm up at the home headquarters on Rainbow Mountain, getting ready for a big rainstorm, working on my new piece of art. I'm calling this the graph of my life. Anyway, it's almost done. You can see it on Instagram, Malibu Illusion. There's my self-promotion for the day. So anyway, Paul from Texas was asking me why the Middle East is so problematic and people just seem to keep killing themselves over there. Well, a couple things. First of all, if you look at the history of the Middle East, it's like the crossroads of like 3 continents. First of all, everybody's coming and going. And if you check out history again, armies are constantly moving in and invading countries for various regions. You look at what the Romans were up to. You look at, that's even pretty like modern compared to the Middle East. Just look at all the crazy stories in the Bible. One group's rolling in like you're out. The next group's rolling in like you're out. The Egyptians are like you're out. The Jews are like you're out. The Christians are like you're out. The Romans are like you're out. And then you got the crazy crusades. I don't know how many people are like familiar with their like Western history, but the crusades were radical. Like, people just went to the Middle East to like kill people and take stuff, and it was like their holy duty. Look, there's the whole goofy thing called religion, which isn't spirituality. So you have a bunch of people claiming their God is better, and their source of their God is some chunk of dirt out in the middle of the desert, whether it's Mecca or Jerusalem or whatever, it's crazy to me, right? They say that like civilization began in the Tigris-Euphrates Valley. I'm calling nonsense and all of that, dude. But roll it forward to modern times. Here we are. Why is it all crazy over there? I'm going to give you one example. The Kurds. The Kurdish people, man. Yeah, is there a country? Do they have a country? No, they don't have a country. But they're a huge, huge group that occupy a huge chunk of the Middle East. They occupy southern Turkey, northern Iraq, and western Iran, and I'm trying to find a map of the world right now, and possibly some of eastern Syria. Let's see, let me break out a map here. So there's a whole ethnic group of people, like they're Kurds. They're like, I don't know, like Koreans or Germans or something. They're a group of people that are exactly who they are. I can't find a good map. So, but they don't belong in any country. Why? Because back in the early the last century, early 20th century, right? They went and broke up the Middle East with straight lines along some sort of irrational boundaries, but they weren't irrational boundaries. The British Empire went and broke up the Middle East, dividing up cultural identity groups into various things and putting them in different countries, and then grouping countries together with a bunch of conflicting people. Like you look at like Iraq. We're in America, man. Constant problem. Iraq. You've got the Kurds up in the north. You got the Shiites. You got the Sunnis. You've got Christians. You got all sorts of crazy people hanging out in one glob on a map called Iraq. Well, each one of those groups are like part of a different glob that's been subdivided by Iraq. Like I said, the Kurds don't even have their own country, but they're in 3 different nations And they're all rolling as Kurds. They are. So you bump into this thing, and the Kurds are taking it because the Kurds live up in the mountains, and the Kurds kind of got it going on. And, no one hears a lot about the Kurds. But my point being is you have a thing where Western minds went in and meddled on tribal solidarity, dude, and broke them all up. And now they're all sitting there like, screw you, right? Well, my group has more people in said country, so we're going to run the country and screw you. And the people that are getting screwed are like, screw you, and rightfully so. Why should anyone get screwed? So you look at the map of the Middle East, and it's a disaster because it just divides up groups. And anytime you're dividing up groups, man, and forcing other groups to coexist, you're like asking for trouble, man. And then you just bump into like geopolitics of our modern era, which is a disaster because it's all about oil, and oil's all based upon the concept of lack, right? Why is the Middle East in constant turmoil? Because once again, a bunch of other governments are using the Middle East countries as proxy states to like battle each other in the name of resource extraction, dude. AKA lack, right? So you have a whole world condition that they are in a state of lack, and their whole reality is based upon petrodollars, and that's just a disaster. You got the arms industry over there like, yeah, it's a good idea. Let's sell the Iranians a bunch of like fighter jet planes. Let's sell the Iraqis some fighter jet planes. Let's sell the Syrians some fighter jet planes. Well, dude, they're selling weapons to all the countries. They're not, the arms manufacturers aren't picking sides. They're just like selling to whoever wants to buy, right? So war is good business right there. Why are people killing each other? This person asked. Why are the people killing? Everybody's killing everybody all over the world because they're all in this crazy mindset of lack. I'm lacking. Because you pray a certain way, it forces me to lack. Because you're plowing your field a certain way, it forces me into a state of lack. It's all this crazy economic system based upon like the stupid currency system that doesn't work, man. It's all just a scam, dude. When the predominant group of people in the Middle East are just like you and I, they just want to be left alone to go down to the market, to buy some food, come home, hang out with their family, and make dinner. Read a book, watch some TV, play some Uno. Who knows what they want to do? But basically, your average person just wants to go home and chill with their family, man. But we have been conditioned to think that people in the Middle East are some sort of weird, warring, it's a small fraction of people that are over there like doing this insanity, man. It's disgraceful. It's humanity at its worst. Not because of the whole thing, because a couple people are allowed to like just go and make a mockery of everybody else trying to like mind their own business. And hey, man, what better way to get a bunch of people to go start killing one another than to blow up their house or their supermarket? I was watching. There's a YouTube video up on. I don't know. It's like tank footage from a tank in Syria, right? And it's just this tank rolling around in Damascus or wherever, like blowing stuff up, right? But you're looking at like a whole like cityscape of like skyscrapers and stuff, and they're all just blown out, man. Like it used to be like a fully functioning city, right? So what does a fully functioning city have? A bunch of people like running around, having dinner, getting up, going to work, right? Well, that's not happening anymore. All those people that were living in this city that this tank's shooting missiles into, don't have anywhere to live. And if you didn't have anywhere to live because some tank was shooting bullets into your living room, what would you do? Would you just be like, that's cool. That's cool. I think I'll just, I'll just beat it on down the street because, there's in America, there's spare houses everywhere. That's the irony and the joke of it all. Anyway, so, you look at the whole thing it's this weird place we've been put over in the box called the Middle East and pretend that we don't have anything to do with it. Look, dude, we all, as human beings, have a role in what's going on over there, dude. We want to stop the wars and the people killing each other, man. We got to stop broadcasting low-frequency signals and start accepting the truth that, like, humans are pretty wacky, super wacky, right? And we need to kind of get our act together. We got to start being a lot nicer to each other. It's the same thing I'm always talking about in these videos, man. You want to stop the war in the Middle East? Stop being a douchebag to the person, the gas station attendant. Stop yelling at the person at the other end of the Bank of America, like 1-800 number, right? Stop being an asshole in traffic, man. Stop yelling at your girlfriend. Stop being an idiot. And I'm talking about me right now. I do all that stuff. I'm a fully functioning idiot on a certain level in the human experience, man. So how can I stop war, even fathom what war is, until I look in my own self and be like, well, the war is me. The conflict, who's killing who? I'm killing me all the time, right? And I know that's some sort of esoteric, weird kind of stuff, but it's manifesting over there because we're allowing it to manifest itself. And people will be like, no, I just constantly, I know a bunch of cool, I told you the story of Hamed. I used to, all right, this video's running long. I used to work with this chick who grew up in Baghdad. This girl, I used to work with her. She grew up and she was there and she was emigrated to the U.S. because Baghdad was being destroyed in Gulf War I. Gulf War I. Not Gulf War II. Shocking on all that. Gulf War I, dude. Remember Gulf War I with George Bush Sr. went and destroyed a bunch of stuff with cruise missiles and back. Well, they were a fully functioning group of people running around going to university. This chick was a full-blown university chick who went to the shopping malls and bought knickknacks for herself and was fully she was pretty, dude. She wasn't some crazy chick in a burqa. She was a fully functioning, Western human being from Baghdad, dude. She would tell me stories of just their country being destroyed for no apparent reason. Yeah, they have problems, the Sunnis and the Shiites and the Kurds and then this and then them and then those guys. Yeah, so do we. What was going on over in Ferguson? What's going on all the time in America? Man, we got problems too, dude. But we don't sit there and go blowing up. Maybe we do. I don't know. It was happening the other week, but I'm calling that a government psyop, man. The governments are twisted, man. You want to ask me, you want to know what I think's really going on? Well, you did. I think it's a bunch of evil governments, man. I think governments are the problem. I think if people were left alone to their own devices, there wouldn't really be any war, man. There would be bad people, but the general group of people would be like, that's not cool. The only reason people let bad people run amok in their little village or whatever, or their town or their community, is because they think the government's going to come in and stop that. You look at our own country, the United States of America, man, with the largest prison population per capita on this planet, dude. Sex offenders are let out before drug dealers, dude. How does that work, man? You got people running around this country who are full violent offenders being released, and drug criminals are incarcerated, dude. Yeah, that's why we got the biggest prison population per capita on the planet, is because we're incarcerating drug addicts and letting murderers and rapists and arsonists go. What? Because we're relying on the government to police our societies. The government has failed. From my observation of Spaceship Earth, the governments of the world are thumbs down, a bunch of buffoons. You ask me what's going on in the Middle East, man? A bunch of governments using cultural identity groups and religious groups to battle one another. I'm convinced, man, that if you left people alone, Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists and Christians and African religions could all sit in this living room and have dinner, man, and not argue about anything. Why? Because there's not really anything to argue about. Everybody at the end of the day just wants to come home, have dinner with their girlfriend and her daughter, and doodle on his piece of cardboard and read a little bit of book and go to sleep with a smile on his face and get up the next day and go to work and make some money so he can buy a new surfboard, man. That's what your average human being wants to do. It might not be a surfboard. They might want a new, I don't know what people want, man. All I know is human beings on Spaceship Earth are no different than me, man. They just want to have the opportunity to sit down and have dinner and not be hassled, man. So you ask me what's going on over there? I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you, man. I think it's a scam, personally, dude. I think everybody ought to just boycott governments around the world. I think everybody ought to take their two middle fingers and point them at the government nearest them and say, fuck you. And excuse my French, but that's what I think everyone ought to do, is tell the government nearest them to piss off. Anyway, this is The Illusion. Am I doing my best?